You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation and your brain is just buffering, translating every single word from your native language. Well, today we're going to talk about the one thing that can completely change that, training your brain to think directly in English. And I know it might sound kind of advanced, but trust me, it's probably the most powerful step you can take to become truly fluent. So let's get into it.
All right, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to talk about why you'd even want to do this. Then we'll get right into the good stuff. 6 practical steps you can start today. After that, we'll tackle those annoying challenges that pop up. And finally, how to make this whole thing a habit that actually sticks. Simple as that. Okay, first things first. Why is this so important? I mean, really, why go to all this trouble? Because before we jump into the how, you've got to understand that changing your internal monologue, well, that's the key. It is the single biggest thing you can do to unlock real confidence when you speak English. So, does this sound familiar? You're trying to chat with someone, but inside your head, there's this little translator working overtime, frantically swapping words from your language into English. That little voice, that's the reason for all those pauses, that hesitation, that feeling that you're just not quick enough or natural enough. It's a total conversation killer. So when we say thinking in English, what do we actually mean? It's not just about having English words float around in your brain. No, it's about your mind creating ideas and connecting thoughts in English from the very start. It's about cutting out that middleman, that slow, clumsy translation step, so your thoughts just flow. You know, a great way to think about it is like a puzzle. Every language is its own unique puzzle, right? When you're translating, you're basically trying to jam pieces from one puzzle into a completely different one. It just doesn't work. But when you start thinking in English, you start to see the English puzzle for what it is. You see how the pieces fit together, the patterns, the rhythm, and suddenly it all just starts to make sense. And let me tell you, the payoff is huge. It's a total game changer, really. It creates this amazing positive cycle. See, you start responding faster, which makes you sound way more natural. When you sound more natural, your confidence just skyrockets. And here's the kicker, because your brain is already switched to English mode, listening becomes so much easier too. It all feeds into itself. Okay, so hopefully you're on board with the why. Now for the really good part, the how. Let's break down 6 super practical, easy steps you can start doing, like right now, to build this habit one little thought at a time. But hey, before we dive in, a quick reality check. This isn't like flipping a switch and suddenly you're thinking in English. It's all about small, daily tweaks, tiny adjustments to what you're already doing. And over time, those little changes are what will completely rewire your brain. All right, here we go. Look at this progression. It's so smart. You start super small, just inside your own head. Like, that's a blue cup. Then you start narrating your actions. I am making coffee. Simple stuff. Next, you can try saying it out loud to yourself or even jotting it down in a notebook. And from there, you expand outwards. You start pulling in English from the world around you, podcasts, movies, you name it. And finally, the big leap. You start practicing with other people. See? It's a natural journey from your private thoughts to public conversation. Okay, let's get real for a second. This whole process, it's not always going to be easy. You're going to hit roadblocks, for sure. But just knowing what they are, that's half the battle. So let's talk about the big ones, and more importantly, how to completely change the way you think about them. You see the pattern here, right? The biggest obstacles, that fear of messing up, feeling totally overwhelmed, getting frustrated, they're all happening inside your own head, which is actually good news because it means the solution is also inside your head. It's all about shifting your mindset. Instead of being afraid of mistakes, you see them as clues. Instead of getting bogged down by how much there is to learn, you just focus on what you can do today. Honestly, you're not just learning English, you're training yourself to be more patient. And this is something you absolutely have to burn into your brain. I mean, think about it. When you were a little kid learning to talk, did you get everything perfect? Of course not. You made a million mistakes. It's the exact same thing here. Learning to embrace those mistakes, to see them as part of the game, that's the secret sauce. That's what separates the people who get fluent from the ones who just give up. All right, so we've got the why, we've got the how,
and we know what roadblocks to watch out for. Now for the final piece, making it stick. How do we take all this practice and turn it into something you just do without even thinking about it?
You know, keeping the momentum going really boils down to two things. Make it easy and make it feel good. How do you make it easy? You set ridiculously small goals. I'm talking 5 minutes a day, and you bake it into your daily routine. And how do you make it feel good? You find your people, a community that gets it. And this is so important, you have to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Don't just stare at the finish line way off in the distance. Look back and see how far you've already come.
Look, if there is one single thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. It's about consistency, not perfection. You do not need to block out hours in your calendar. Seriously, 5 minutes of focused practice every single day is so much more powerful than cramming for an hour once a week. It's that consistent, daily effort that builds the neural pathways. That's what makes the habit stick.
So let's wrap this up with a challenge for you. Don't put this off. Don't wait for the perfect time. Right now, today, what's the first English thought you're going to have on purpose? Maybe it's just looking at your phone and thinking, this is my phone. That's it. That's your starting line. Go for it. You can totally do this.